So, what is edging? Edging is not semen retention, even it can include it. Edging is not avoiding orgasm. Edging is a form of meditation. You know, if you've ever heard about orgasmic meditation, or edging is a prayer, and what happens is you just allow your arousal just to be there without a goal, without an agenda, and it has been in terms of premature ejaculation dynamics, the so-called start-stop method. So you just go with your arousal, and when you feel you're coming closer to the point of no return, you stop, you pause, you relax, and when you do that for a certain amount of time, you can start observing your own neurological responses, your emotional states, your state of mind, where you go into fantasies and where do you get distracted with your sensations in your genitals, and where your emotions kind of take over. So there are a few things to look at when you edge, and one of them, your sensory inflow needs to be open, meaning you need to feel with your skin, and that's why I actually do this hand meditation thing. So you're feeling with your hands, because when you can do that by facing the feelings and emotions that come up, so for example boredom or sadness or maybe frustration, this is holding you back actually from edging. So you start with the hands, and when the hands will get it, the rest of your body will get it, including your genitals. So when that lands in your feeling center is getting activated, and you can actually stay present with what is coming up. Then it's as well easier to stay present when you touching yourself on your genitals, and because you have more nerve endings on your genitals than in your hands, when you're getting really aroused and you touch your genitals, you will not feel your hands. You will feel your genitals, because you have only one feeling center, and the impulses from your hands landing there as well, the impulses from your genitals, but there are more impulses coming in from your genitals. But you can still adjust yourself when you do start-stop, where you actually back off and go back to your hands. Maybe touch something else, or maybe touch your body or touch your skin, but you probably will feel as well more on your body and your skin than on your hands. But when you go back to your hands, you literally reset that inflow circuit in your nervous system. So this is one thing, so the inflow needs to be open. The second one is neurologically on the sympathetic, what is your so-called fight-flight response, or your mobilization when you don't fight-flight, is that when you squeeze and clench your PC muscle or your body to avoid to come, this avoidance when you contract is igniting that what you want to avoid, what is orgasm, climaxing. So, and that what you just know as an orgasm in your genitals is actually only a spasmic reflex, because the orgasm happens in the brain, and or the release of neurotransmitter and hormones when you orgasm in the brain is a pretty complex structure that nobody can explain to this day. But you have the capability of learn to expand and relax in that state. And what happens after a while, and that's why it becomes a meditation, your brain goes into this deep alpha state, this alpha waves. They are like meditation. So edging becomes a prayer. And when you can hang out there in this state of relaxation, of the prayer, of, you know, on the brink of coming without jumping over the cliff, you start releasing in your pineal gland DMT, just micro doses. This is well documented And there are two science talking about that. One of them is Rick Strassman in The Spiritual Molecule in his book, and another one is Frank Zapano, is a neuroscientist, talking as well about the release of DMT and the cerebrospinal fluid. This is interesting researches. Anyway, so you release DMT in your system, and this DMT is flooding your cerebrospinal fluid, where you create, there's a fiber in there that's responsible for the creation of stem cells, as far as I understood that. You know, I'm not a science, but, you know, I love to do my own research and try to figure out what's going on in our body, specifically when it comes to this very topic of sexual stimuli and arousal and edging and stuff like that. So you start releasing DMT, microdoses in your cerebrospinal fluid, and that runs through your entire spine. So it's 250 milliliter that is taking over a few times a day. And when you flood that with DMT, when you edge, you rise the vibration of your system. So the cells are getting produced in there when you're on this high state of pleasure and arousal. It's extremely beneficial for the body and extremely healthy. So imagine your stem cell production comes from a DMT amped up vibration. So DMT, for the people who don't know, dimethyltryptamine is in plants, and for example the spiritual molecule that is opening up the gateways in ayahuasca and different other plants, but you can produce it yourself. So you produce the most DMT under birth and death. So DMT, that's why it calls a spiritual molecule, is a gateway in a spiritual transformative state. So that's happening when you edge. Then there are some guys, specifically men. So women and edging is a different thing. So I can't really tell because I'm not a woman. And I'm talking here in the heterosexual normative bios. And but women, they have obviously the capacity to be in a multi-orgasmic state and climax and come and squirt and have, you know, womb orgasms and cervical orgasms and clitoral orgasms and, you know, vulva orgasm, you know, the entire shebang. And we guys, we don't really have that. When we climax, the show is over. But you can learn how to become orgasmic instead of having them as a guy. And when you make love with a woman, it's about staying in front of this door of infinity where women can easily go in, and you just ride the waves with them. So, but you stay on the edge. So that's the idea of edging. Some men create blue balls. Blue balls is when the semen is not getting ejaculated or is not getting absorbed from the body, or you have an overproduction of semen, then you just feel that pressure in your balls. You can hardly walk, and many men experience that when they start edging or when they stop ejaculating. And there are a few other things you take in consideration when you do edging and when you start edging. For example, what's your nutrition like? You know, or are you living healthy? Are you having substitutions going on? Are you using caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, sugar, all this kind of addictive, dopamine-driven substances? And are you working out? Are you getting your energy moving? So these are all different layers, and different people are in different stages, and it's so hard to say, you know, every solution fits everyone, because most men are in different emotional places. So all that said, the tutorial that I'm going to show you is the difference between contraction and expansion, how you move your body, how you breathe, how the inflow opens up, and how you can touch yourself and start feeling and sensing with your skin. And I have kind of, in a self-explorative way, going into all to this direction and learning that myself. So I'm not speaking from a book, I'm speaking from, you know, nearly 30 years of experiences, where I did 10 years the Mantak Chia practice, clenching and squeezing my pelvic floor and creating nearly erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation and a prostatitis. So if you practice this clenching, squeezing, controlling mechanism, sympathetic kind of holding, it's not a good practice. It's damaging. So the opposite, not even the opposite, but the expansion is what guides you into the state of relaxation. And when you entering, you know, that state on the edge where the pleasure, the horniness, the arousal is the highest, can you relax there? Can you take a breath? Can you let go and stay there without falling over? And most of the time, and that's my experience in the past, falling over is so simple and easy if you never practice that, specifically when you're with a partner. So if you haven't done that yourself, start edging with yourself, and then you just bring that in your partnership. And the important piece in relationship and partnership is, you know, edging is not a solo practice. It's nice solo, you're just starting solo, but you just want to merge with your partner and you want to go into this experience with your beloved one. Because what happens after a while when you edge together, you know, have eye contact and you feel into each other and you just dive into each other. It's, you know, it's a deep soul connection. And this deep soul connection that goes from this interpersonal lover space into this transpersonal spiritual unity. So you just merge into another. And in the moment of DMT release, in the woman's body and in your body, there is opening up a portal. And this portal, this is why people practicing Tantra, I imagine. You know, it's a spiritual practice, it's a prayer, it's a meditation, it's a deep state of unity. It's a divine kiss, if you want to say so. So that is what edging is, and to practice that, it needs a few things in place. And this few things in place, this is what I'm going to show you. And stay tuned. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out at any time. And I recommend you to watch it a few times. There are many information, and some of them you might not pick up straight away. So therefore the recommendation is watch it several times or pause, make notes. Enjoy the ride. There is so much to explore and to discover, and if you fall down the horse or you fall down the edge, there is a recovery period, 3 to 7 days. Don't touch yourself, don't edge. Just do some yoga, do some stretches, have a good nutrition, do some de-armoring work, release tension. Coffee enema is always good. I talked about that already before. And practice more of the inflow, the sensing. Can you stay with your awareness in your hands? Because if you can't stay with your awareness in your hand, this is where you train your attention span, you will be capable of staying with your attention in your genitals, just in front of the gate of orgasm, without poking through. So you will discover a lot, and I hope you have a fantastic time. And let's start with what you need to know in the next video.